Welcome back to Blow Up. I'm going to go ahead and continue this read. Today is the 20th of April, so it's been almost a week since I've read from the Billionaire Cinderella contract by Michelle Smart. This book is pretty awesome. I've just been very busy, so I have to kind of pick and choose what my priorities are. And I have like 10 minutes I can read. We're going to go ahead and start on page 61. That's where we left off. And Damien had mentioned about the documentation and the criminal record in the last video I had. So we'll just go ahead and continue there. And he said, put that out of your mind. And she's like, how can I? Knowing her criminal record was in someone else's hands and could be used against her at any time was like having a permanent weight lodged in her chest. What if she mucked the job up? Would he use her record as a weapon against her as punishment? While she knew zero about the documents he needed to find, she knew they were incredibly important to him. He was a man at war with his brother, whereas Mia was a woman desperate to protect her sister. The way they lived and their outlooks on life were just too divergent. How could she trust someone whose mind worked in such a different way than her own? He inhaled deeply and got to his feet. 1 minute, he muttered. He disappeared, returning shortly with a large envelope. He handed it to her. Here, this is my copy of your conviction. Take it. I think it would be seriously safer in his hands. Chapter 5. Damien saw the hesitation before Mia took the envelope from him. This is proof I have no intention of using it against you. He sat back down and stared into her wide, disbelieving eyes. I only wanted it for the information it contained. You'll have to take my word that I made no copies. Expecting her to automatically demand proof regarding of his assurance, he was pleasantly surprised when she continued staring at him, time stretching between them before the shadow of a smile curved her cheeks. Thank you, she said simply, and laid the envelope on the table. Biting into her bottom lip, she said, if your communications are being monitored, how can you be sure Emiliano hasn't seen it and copied it? His chest filled, although whether it was because she seemed to have actually taken his word for something. I'm at work, so I have some slight interruptions, okay? Sorry. So, continuing that sentence, his chest filled with whether it was because she seemed to have actually taken his word for something or her mention of his brother, he couldn't say. He still couldn't believe he'd given her that information. My security team have provided me with a state-of-the-art phone, which they monitor for me. Everything concerning you has been done through it. I have used Philippe and his team for my security needs for over a decade, and I trust them impeccably. It was them who discovered my communication had been hacked. Her eyes held his for a little longer before she nodded, seemingly accepting his assurance, masterfully keeping her glass straight, curled back into the sofa. Okay, so what do you want to know about me? Everything. The wayward thought caught him off guard, and he had another drink of his beer while he composed his thoughts. Your family. Tell me about them. There's not much to tell. We're just normal. Define normal. Well, Amy and I never call our mom by her first name, and we don't need to make an appointment to see her. And I don't think she's following me or hacking into my communication. That kind of normal. Damien had no idea why this obvious slight against his family and dig at his situation, something he would normally take as a heinous crime, made him laugh. As a man who rarely found humor in life, hearing his own laughter sounded strange to his ears. Is Amy older or younger than you? 2 years younger. Any siblings? No. Is Amy an actress too? She's just qualified as a nurse. Mia said this with unmistakable pride. Our mom works as a school teacher assistant. See? Normal. I grew up in a 3-bedroom, semi-detached house in a old market town where nothing much happened, and very ordinary and normal. He supplied with a quirk of his brow. Unbelievably, he found himself relaxing, something that was alien to him as the sound of his laughter. Maybe it was the soft lighting or the way Mia had relaxed into the sofa, the two of them conversing as, well, not friends, but not foes either. Exactly, she snickered. What about your father? What does he do? She had a quick drink before answering. He died 9 years ago. The lightness of their conversation darkened in an instant. Oh, he blinked. Sorry. I'm sorry. Her smile became brittle. Don't be. It was a long time ago. But the pain was still there. He could see it in the way her knees pulled closer to her chest and the sudden tautness of her features. How did he? He found the question flailing on his tongue. Die? She swallowed. The brittle smile remained. His car broke down on the motorway. He was trying to pull over to the hard shoulder when he was hit by a lorry. She had another drink. He didn't stand a chance. I'm sorry, he repeated, with his own father having recently died suddenly, although not expectedly, as he'd suffered ill health. His chest twisted to imagine the devastation it wrought. We're at page 66. The coroner said he died instantly, so that's a comfort. He didn't suffer. No, he thought. The dead didn't suffer. It was the ones left behind who bore the suffering. What was he like, he asked. Her tight frame loosened and her features softened. He was wonderful. He was a physics teacher and mad about frogs, a box of frogs. I can't talk today, you guys. He thought the dead didn't suffer. It was the ones left behind who bore the suffering. What was he like, he asked. Her tight frame loosened and her features softened. He was wonderful. He was a physics teacher and mad as a box of frogs. Very loving and very funny and hugely intelligent. He doted on us. You saw a lot of him? Sorry, I got noises behind me. He caught the wry bafflement his question caused. Of course I did. We all lived under the same roof. We were a family. He grimaced. I'm sorry. My family were a family too, but not, I think, as you experienced family. It wasn't usual for us to all be on a separate continent when I was growing up. Damien and his brother had been raised by their own personal nannies and a fleet of dedicated staff, and educated in English boarding school. An annual skiing trip to Switzerland had been the only synchronized family time, and even that had been full of his parents disappearing to take calls. He remembered numerous occasions when he had flown to one of the family homes on a school holiday only to find one or both of his parents had already moved on to another country. To Damien, that had been normal. I keep getting interrupted again. He'd grown up longing for the day he could take his place at his father's side within the business. When the day had finally come, the day his father had appointed him head of Banco Delgado, his father had patted his back and said, "You made an old man proud." After a lifetime of antipathy from his brother and being made to feel second best by his mother, those words had validated his entire existence. And I guess this concludes my read for now. It's after 10 minutes, and I gotta go back to work. So I hope you all have a good day, and I'll see you very soon. Thanks for tuning in to Bolo Up.